Good day everyone. Welcome to another episode of our Azure Data Factory series. In today's video, we will dive into how you can enhance security by integrating Azure Key Vault with Azure Data Factory, ensuring your SQL Server credentials remain protected. Follow along as we guide you step by step through securing your data connections. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us create more valuable content just for you. Let's get started. I will first create a Azure Key Vault to start with this a demo. So let's click on create for this Azure Key Vault from the create resource wizard. So here I'm going to select our a resource group, which would be our JBS Wiki ADB. Yeah, let's enter the key vault name. Let's put the key vault name as JB Key Vault. Yeah, that would be the name that I'll be using. JB Key Vault is already in use, so what I'll do is I will use JB ADB. Yeah, so which is JB Azure Databricks Key Vault. Yeah, region I will use South India, and pricing tier I will leave it to standard. Yeah, and everything else I will leave it as default. Soft delete would be enabled. Days to retain deleted vaults would be 90. Yeah, let's click on next. So here I'm going to leave things default. Let's click on next. Private endpoints, we will not create it now, but we will create it later. Yeah, and let's click on so enable public access also. We will leave it all enabled, but after the key vault is created, we will change it as per our requirement. Yeah, so let's click on next. If you want, you can add some tags here. So I'm going to select the required tags. Yeah, so application owner and environment, let's select it as test. Yeah, so just for my identification, that's it. So click on next. Now what I'll do is I will click on create here. So let's wait for the key vault to get created. Yeah, once the key vault is created, what we'll do is we will check the key vault. Let's create a secret there, and then also we will disable the network access after we create the required secret, and then see how do we access it going forward. Yeah, so now if you can see here, we have created the key vault. Let's click on go to resource. Okay, so we are on the key vault. Yeah, so if you can see here, this is the key vault. So now what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create a secret here. Yeah, secret. What I'm basically going to do is I will create the password. Yeah, so what I'll do is I will put the name as JB SQL SHIR1. That's my SQL name, and I will put it as password. Yeah, so that's the password that that's the name that I'll be using, and the secret value I will give the actual password that will be used. For example, my login that I'll be using to connect to the SQL Server would be jvivek2k1, and its corresponding password will be there. So here what you need to do is the username, you will have to explicitly give it there in the link services. But as far as the password is concerned, I will create the name for that password as jbsqlshir1 password. Yeah, secret value would be your actual password. Yeah, so let's give that. So instead of giving the password explicitly on the link services, what we do is we call this particular secret there. Okay, so I'm going to leave everything else as a default, but on a production environment, you need to select the expiration, the activation date, and things like that. Yeah. Let's click on create. So now we are able to see that there seems to be an error. Let's click on that. And the error is caller is not authorized to perform action on the resource. The role assignments, deny assignments, or role definitions were changed recently. Please observe propagation time. So yeah, so what it basically tells is like we don't have access. Yeah, we don't have access to create any secrets on this key vault. Okay, so now what we'll do is like let's go to the key vault back, yeah, and then let's go to the control IAM, yeah. So let's go to the key vault here, and then access control IAM is here, yeah. And what we need to do is like we will have to add a role assignment here. So what I'm going to use, I'm administrator here. So I'm going to give Key Vault administrator access. Yeah. Click on next, and I'll be using user group or service principal. You just need to click on select members, and then you need to add the user who will be accessing this particular Key Vault. Yeah. Okay, so I have added the user here. Yeah. And then let's click on next, and then click on review plus assign. Yeah, so let's wait for it to get added. So now it is added. Now what we'll do is like let's go to the secrets. Yeah, and then let's do the same thing here. JVADPSHIR1 password secret. Let's key in the password. Let's click on create here, and then let's see. So now if you can see, after providing the required access, I'm able to create the secret. Okay, so now we have the secret in place. Yeah, now what we need to do, we need to head to our ADF, and then we basically have to create a link services to the key vault. Yeah, so that is how we will be able to connect from our ADF to the key vault, retrieve the secret, and then try a connection to SQL Server. Okay, okay, so let's head to our ADF studio, and let's click on manage here. Yep, so we have the link services here. So if you can see here, we have a link services that basically uses a self-hosted integration runtime and then tries to connect to the server SHIR1, and the database is JVDB, and we are using an authentication type of SQL authentication. Yeah, and we have the username, and we have used the option password here, and we have explicitly mentioned the password here. Yeah, so now let's first try clicking on test connection. Yeah, and let's see if it goes through. So if you can see here, we are able to see that the connection is successful. Yeah, and now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the Azure Key Vault again. Yeah, and I will look for the networking, and then I will change the network access there. But before that, what I'm going to do now, the end goal for this video would be like move away from this uh, place where you explicitly give the password and use the Azure Key Vault, and then use the password there. Yeah, that is what I'm going to do. So now what I'll do is like I will go to the Key Vault. Yeah, and then let's go to the networking, And then if you see here, we have allowed public access from all networks. Yeah. So as I told you, it's like not a good option as far as a production deployment is concerned. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to change it to disable public access. And also what I'm going to do, now if I disable the public access, even I will not be able to access it. So let me disable it. So let's click on apply. Yeah. And if I want to look at the secrets, yeah, so if you can see here, it is basically giving a message stating like you are unauthorized to view these contents. Yeah. So now let's go back to the link services in the ADF, and then now if you try a test connection, yeah. So now we are able to see that we are still able to make the connection successful. Yeah. So now if you see here, uh, there is one more thing that we can do here. Like if you go to the networking and if you want to see the secrets and things like that, what you can do is like you can use this option, allow public access from specified virtual network and IP address. And what you can do is like you can add your client IP address. Yeah. That way you will be able to access the secrets and things like that. But in my case, I'm okay with this. Like in case I need something, then I will change it. But as of now, this is fine. Okay. So now if I go back to the networking, everything seems to be good. Yeah. Disable public access is enabled here. So now what I'm going to do is like now that we have this, now I'm going to use the Azure Key Vault. Let me replace the password and then use the Azure Key Vault here. Okay. So now what would be the link service? We don't have a link service created for the Azure Key Vault, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to first create a link services for the Azure Key Vault. So let's search for that. So we have this Key Vault here. Now click on continue. And if you see here, um, we can give the required names, everything. You will select the things, but the most important thing is like the link services communication to the Azure Key Vault happens via this authentication method that is specified here. You have two things here. Yeah, one is system assigned managed identity, that is the identity that is created by Azure itself, and user assigned is something that you can create. So right now what we'll do is like we will use the system assigned managed identity, which will be your this one, JBS wiki ADB-SI. Yeah, so this is the one. Okay, now what we'll do is like we will fill this up. Yeah, so let's give it a name. So this key vault is going to be like connecting from your Azure Data Factory to your Key Vault, and then to your SQL Server, which is SHIR1. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is like let's correct it. Yeah. And this is the link service name that I've given. I'm selecting this from Azure subscription, so I'm going to change the Azure subscription here. Or I'm going to select the required one. Now I'm going to select the required keyword is JBS Wiki ADB-SI. Okay, so I'm going to click on create here, but after this gets created, we will have to use this manage identity, and we will have to give access to this manage identity into the Azure Key Vault. Yeah. So now if you see here, we have created this link services, which is related to ADF. Yeah. So let's publish it as well. Now, once this is published, what we'll do is like we will head to the Azure Key Vault and then go to the access control IAM and then click on add role assignment. And then the access that we are going to give this time is not an administrator. Instead, it's going to be a Key Vault secret user. It is basically read secret contents, only works for key vaults that use the Azure role-based access control permission model. Yeah, let's click on next. we need to select manage identity and then click on select members. And then for the managed identity, we will select this Data Factory V2 here. And then if you see here, you will be able to see the one which is JBS Wiki ADBSI, which is present here. Yeah. So select that and then click on next. And then you can click on review plus assign. And we have added that managed identity into Azure Key Vault. Let's head back to our link services here, yeah, and then let's try a test connection. So if you can see here, the connection is successful, yeah. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to add now that we have created this, we have added the managed identity. Now I'm going to create a managed private endpoint here. Yeah. So what will happen is like, for example, if you have several um, key vaults and you have ADF which basically connects to this ADF, you might see lot of private endpoints here. Yeah, so that is something you will be seeing a lot of things and you will have to deal with it and also manage those things. Yeah, now let's click on new here. Yeah, now search for the key vault and then click on continue. Yeah, let's name this as manage private endpoint, uh, and we will advise that it is going to be from the Azure Databricks to Key Vault to SHIR1. So it's a demo, so I don't have a proper naming convention, but uh, on a production deployment, you will definitely have it. So you guys have to use it appropriately. Yeah. So I'm going to select the subscription now. Then I'm going to select the required key vault, which is JB ADB key vault here. Yeah. Let's click on create. Okay. So it is currently provisioning. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to go back to the key vault and then click on the networking tab here. And then if I go to this private endpoint connection, I will be seeing it as pending here, the connection state. So I will click on it and then I will approve it. Yeah, I will just give a comment as ADB key vault SHIR1 is my VM which has the SQL Server in it. So once this is approved, we should be good to go. Okay, it's taking time. Let's wait for it to complete. Okay, so it is completed now. It's showing as approved. Let's head back to the Data Studio and then let's click on refresh here. Here we are still seeing as provisioning. So let's give it like a couple of more minutes and then we will see if it is getting succeeded, the provisioning state. Okay, so it is done now. The provisioning state is succeeded and the approval state is approved now. Yeah. So now what we'll do, we let's head back to the link services. Yeah, and then let's try connecting this link services here using the key vault. Okay, so now let's click on this. And then if you see here, we are using uh, the SQL authentication directly here. Yeah, put the username explicitly and the password as well explicitly. And now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to click on this test connection to make sure it works. And after that, what I'll do is like I will change it to Azure Key Vault and then check that further. So the connection is successful. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to move to Azure Key Vault, and then I will select the required link services that was created for the Key Vault. Yeah. So now if you see here, I'm getting an error stating like loading failed, and it basically tells like operation returned an invalid status code forbidden. Yeah. So I know what is the uh, secret that was created. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to edit that and then give that secret here directly. Yeah. And then let me try checking the connection, and I'm hoping you will get an error here this time or as well. Let's look at the error that can tell us a lot of things. So let's wait for the connection, testing connection to complete. Okay, it failed. So now when you click on this here, we can see that the public network access is disabled and your client IP address is not authorized to access this key vault. Yeah, secret name. They have mentioned the things, and the error message is connection is not an approved private link, and caller was ignored because bypass is not set to Azure services and public network access is set to disabled. Okay, this is what I'm seeing. So now let's head back to the key vault, and we know that we have disabled all public access here, and the error tells that uh, caller was ignored because bypass is not set to Azure services. So what I'm going to do in the key vault here, I'm going to check this to allow Microsoft services to bypass this firewall. Yeah, let's apply it. It's applied now. So now let's go back to this one here, and then let's uncheck this edit here, and then what I'm going to do, I'm going to refresh it here. Yeah, so this time when I refresh it, I don't see any errors anymore. Yeah, so the reason why I gave that secret directly, just to get that error message, that's the reason I've given that. Now after checking that, we are able to see the secret. So now let's click on test connection. And if you see this time, the connection was successful. Yeah. So just a recap, like what we did. Our motto was to connect our Azure Data Factory to SQL Server using SQL authentication. But this time, we do not want to provide the password directly on the link services. Instead, what we wanted is like we wanted to bring in Azure Key Vault and put the password inside that Azure Key Vault as a secret. And then we wanted that to be called in the link services instead of calling that instead of having the password explicitly defined in the link services. Yeah. Now, if you don't use this Azure Key Vault, what will happen is that this password will be stored on the server where we have this integration runtime. Yeah, the SHIR server where you have installed the self-hosted integration runtime, that will have this password. So avoid that. We are basically moving this password onto the Key Vault, and then we are basically bringing in that password secret from the Key Vault and putting it into the link services. Yeah. Now after we have done that, while creating the first link services for Azure Key Vault, we got the system manager identity, and this identity was added as an Key Vault secret user onto the Azure Key Vault. Yeah. And then we created a managed private endpoint from ADF to the Azure Key Vault. We approved it, and after that we tried a connection after the approval, and we got an error that Azure services are not allowed. Then we checked this option here, and after that the connection was successful. Yeah. That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Jai Hind.